Hello there everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of my tutorial series for Factorio. So, last episode we successfully set up electricity, and, well, we got attacked by some biters. So I want to start with this problem first. So we craft ourselves a couple of repair packs, because this place here looks like a dump now. So we do replace all the parts that have been eaten. And since it was at the very end of the last episode, hold your mouse cursor versus an entity that you want to kill and hold down C to shoot. That is very important to know. That's why I want to add it at the very beginning. So the packs, you just hold them over an entity and left click and hold, so we can repair all that. Very important for us at this point of the game. So let's get working on some real automation, shall we? Because now we can really do some good stuff. First off, though, I want to make myself a couple of extra mining drills, because we need to stop what we're doing here. You see, that won't get us anywhere. First off, though, I want to research gun turrets, and next up the military tech, so we can research the submachine guns, which are just that much better in terms of keeping us safe. Okay, with the extra mining drills, we're gonna have some fun down here. I'll keep everything that I had for now running, as it is very simple. We can still utilize that stuff pretty decently until we are on a better point. Eventually, we're going to rip out all the machines that we got here out of the ground, but for starters, we're going to keep it like that. And we're being attacked yet again. As you can see here, the biters already react on the pollution that we're spreading. That's why I am creating these new technologies right away. By the way, the more trees you have around you, the longer it takes for the biters to grow that nasty. As basically, the trees suck up pollution out of the air, and yeah, that is basically it. Okay, so we're now going to be constantly molested by these bad boys that have also eaten our power pole. And, well, where was I? Yeah. We are now going to start automating ore mineral production. So that means we're going to set up one mining machine here. A mining machine has a slight aura around itself. So if I'd be placing it down here, we would be producing copper and iron. We don't want that, at least not now. I'm going to show you how to deal with these kind of situations on another moment, but not right now. So we are now getting some power down here. And my very first goal is I want to automate the production of science packs, as I think this is very, very important for us to get that done without us having to do anything with that. So let's work on this first. Now that we know how things work, we're going to craft ourselves a few inserters, and we now want to automate the smelting process. So we're picking up one of the furnaces by pressing Q while hovering over the mouse cursor, with the mouse over it, and we're placing it down like that. The inserters, I'll put them on the hotbar because, you know, they will be needed. Here again, the bar goes points towards where the inserter picks up, and the arrow points towards where the inserter will drop down. So goes something like this. The problem with this is now that we don't have an automated source of fuel for this little thing. We're going to resolve that issue on another point of the tutorial series. For now, we're going to leave it like that, because it is good enough to start with. There is a very easy trick, nevertheless, though, to just bring coal and iron ore on the same belt, but I beg the forgiveness. We're going to work on that when the time is right. I just don't want to do too much belt magic in the early episodes of this series, because, you know, you can do a lot of good things with these transport belts, but I don't want to make it too overwhelming. Because when I started out, when people started explaining too much about belts, my brain gone all wee, and I had no clue what they were talking about. So that's my reasoning. So for starters, we're just going to set up like that. But what this already does is, it is basically the same like this, but it is now endlessly expandable. Unlike this one, where only one mining drill can always feed only one furnace, we have now a method that can, we can just set up as many miners as we want to and add in as many furnaces as we want to. So what's missing now though is the extraction. So we need now another set of inserters that extract the stuff there. There we go. Same thing required on the other side. So let's craft ourselves a few more of these. And here goes the same verdict. You generally need more iron early on than you need copper. Changes over the course of the game, but early on it is just like that. So we have now managed to get iron plates and copper plates on a belt. Automatically, permanently. Nice, isn't it? So, first of all though, I want to go over to my lab and chuck in the rest of the red bottles in here so we can finally research military. Okay, I'll be building myself now some assembling machines. These will do all the work for us now. Assembling machines basically work like the player's crafting inventory, just automatically, and can be fed via inserters, and yeah, pretty much that's that. So we now check, what does the automation science pack require? It requires one copper plate, we already got that, and it requires one iron gear wheel, we don't have that. Or at least we don't have it automated. So military has been finally researched. Let's move on over to stone walls, as this is the point where we can just build ourselves a fortress properly. Okay, now the assemblers go into the hotbar as well. And now we're going to work with that. So for a red science pack, we do require copper plate. So let's set that up. And we will require iron gear wheel. So iron gear wheels, as we can see here, are manufactured out of iron plates. So let's work it like that. We need to select the recipe. And now all that is needed to be done is that we need to transport one good to another. As you can see here now, the spacing of these two is odd. We could now either pipe it over like this. This would be an absolutely doable solution, but I want to introduce a new helper here, a long-handed inserter. A long-handed inserter is basically the same as the yellow one, just he can reach further away. As you see here now, the bar reaches the assembler, and you can already see that they are also encapsulated by these white thingies. That shows that it'll work. So here we go, just like that. And now to round up things, to truly automate them, we pick up that lab and set it down here. Make sure we got power everywhere and one inserter that can extract the finished science packs and drop them into the laboratory. When we check out our power consumption, we do realize all is fine. So, congratulations, we have science automated. But as you can already probably foresee, that is all just the beginning of things. We are just getting started, and as you can see there, we are probably we would need more machines doing the same thing. Probably we want more laboratories doing the same thing, because we can't have as many laboratories running at the same time as we want to. So the first step to upgrading our enterprises will now be to crank up our power production. So when it comes down now to the question where to next, it is quite simple. We can here, from this point on, automate everything. Like, pretty much everything. And that means also that we need to know about our limitations. Stone walls have been researched. Let's go next for logistics, because that allows us to get some belt magic going. So what I'm trying to get down to is, we can only run as many machines as we have power. We can only produce as much power as we have water and coal. So we can only produce as much science as we have copper and iron, and the list goes on and on and on. And our good friends here are eating our base yet again. And as you can see, the attacks are growing more and more vicious. We ran out of bullets, so let's just start crafting some more. So we need to get rid of this issue, don't we? As you can see here, they don't stop. Okay. Let's build ourselves a gun turret so these incidents won't happen anymore. I mean, it is, at the end of the day, only a minor nuisance. We can replace all of the machines that we have lost. We can repair everything. But one thing remains to be thought about. We do lose permanently the resources that the biters have destroyed. Since all of the patches are limited, as you see here, there's a limited amount of resource in and everything. It is, well, something you might want to avoid as much as you can. Therefore, let's start working on our safety, shall we? So, I'll be dropping down the gun turret here, and you can see that the gun turret has a greenish radius around itself. We're also going to pick up our firearm magazines, hold down left control and right click to dump only 50% of all our clips down. So, since I still have an assembler left, I'm going to build another one of them bad boys up here. And we are going to produce ourselves some ammo, shall we? Obviously, this is right now very, very necessary, so let's do that. Also, I want to do myself a favor and get started to work on that submachine gun. The submachine gun is basically just a souped up version of your pistol. It's just much better. Nothing else. Alright, as you can see now, the assembler is unable to produce more magazines if its output is full. Many machines suffer from that issue, that basically when they don't have anything where they can drop their material into, they are highly unproductive. So we're going to go and limit this yet again, because I don't want the entirety of my iron plates that I'm currently creating to be destroyed by that. We're also going to pick up now all of the machines because, in all honesty, we're much better off with the new automated versions of the old machines compared to what we did before. On another bright side, this gives us also access to lowering our pollution, like a lot. Because you must know, before, all of these burner mining drills were exuding pollution. Now, the pollution footprint of my factory is much, much lower. So, that's a pretty good thing. So you can also see what kind of pollution every machine has. The burner mining drill exudes 12 pollution per minute. The electric mining drills also produce pollution. Very, very important to note that there is no free cake, basically, in this game. That is what it really boils down to. So, to alleviate that, we are now going to put up some gun turrets everywhere. We can't really afford, at this point of the game, to set up walls everywhere because we don't have the necessary resource for that. What we can easily afford, building ourselves a couple of gun turrets and feeding a couple of magazines that we're producing into these. Also, I strongly recommend to dump your pistol and move over to the SMG fully, because the SMG is just better. End of the line. Alright. So, we should be able now to defend our base at all ends. I want to make sure that this part of our factory also is being well defended. There's two parts of your factory that need to be absolutely defended at any costs. These are the production of fuel and the power production. If any of these two areas breaks down, your factory can go into kind of a shutdown mode. Because the moment you're losing the ability to produce power, all of the rest of your machines shut down. The moment we have no more power, we produce no more fuel, and when we produce no more fuel, we can produce even less power. So it's the most important parts of our infrastructure, so to speak. We have now logistics researched. This allows us to build new, wonderful things with our builds, but more about that when it's time for this. We are going to research next optics. And as you can see, our gun turret did the job. But he did bleed for that. So this shows me that we definitely can use another one of these bad boys here. They also eat up our magazines. So we have now a constant economy pressure already on our shoulders. So how do we alleviate that? Easy. By building up more of the same. So now we're going to go over to this. And yeah, it looks really weird like that. That is because we will optimize also our smelting at a later stage. But for starters, I'm going to keep it like that. Because I think we are always best off with using what we got until we can truly, effectively upscale. There we go. So now we have a little bit more ore and a little bit more plate. So I think this all should work out fine. So the next thing that I want to do is we need to get things automated for real. So we could, for example, now start building gun turrets and whatnot, but I don't want to go down that way. What I do want to do next is I want to make sure that we're going to set ourselves up a proper base camp. The operations that we got right now are fine for what they're doing. We're keeping ourselves safe. We got the basics down, but we won't be able to operate on a bigger scale like that. What I'm doing now is I'm handcrafting a bunch of electric miners in the background, because we're going to need a ton of these. What I'm also needing next is a couple of assemblers, because we want to build new stuff, and we are also going to need a couple of furnaces. So that's the next few things on at our hand. But we first up, our first interest is to build a park of machines that allows us to build more machines, so we won't have it that hard to expand. Because currently, as you see, I'm just standing still and crafting these freaking mining machines. This is not really effective. This is not really good. What I'm investing my research next into will be more whammies on our guns. We don't want to expand currently with new stuff, so I'm going to go down that way for now. Weapon upgrades, if you can currently afford it, are always worth it in my humble opinion. In the meantime, we're stacking up on firearms magazines. Okay, so now we need to do a little bit of math. The thing is, we want to produce as much iron as possible and as much copper as possible with our current level of technology. To do so, we must understand how things are working. The transport belt that we got right now can transport 15 items per second. This is currently our hard limit for production at all points. So if we look at the mining machine, it produces 0.5 pieces of ore per second. So we can now do a little, an easy way of math here. That means we can connect up to 30 machines onto one lane of transport belt. Then there will be no more benefit if we'd be connecting further mining machines, because the belt is already full. We can't put more on the belt than the belt can effectively transport away. That is very, very important to know. This influences lots of parts of the game. Therefore, this is already what we know. This also means that there will be no reason whatsoever in setting up a bajillion of mining machines up front. Like crafting 200 of them won't be good for anything. Our limit, our reasonable limit right now, is 30 material. And not even that is as easy, as we will see in a few minutes. We also need to check back with our power production. So here goes the following deal. One boiler consumes 60 units of water per second. That means when we check back with our pump, that our pump can facilitate 20 boilers at the same time. That's already good to know. So that means we are well in the clear. Now we check back with the rest of it. This thing consumes burnable fuel. It consumes 1.8 megawatt per second if it can. What does that mean? This means that if this whole generator is full, running at its full power capacity, it will eat up 1.8 megawatt per second. But now you are asking yourself, what the hell are 1.8 megawatt per second? Coal has a fuel value, as basically everything that you can burn has a fuel value. The megajoule value can be roughly directly translated one by one into megawatt. That means one piece of coal roughly burns 2 point something seconds in a boiler when it's completely decked out. That means it's roughly consuming something about 0.4 to 0.5 units of coal per second, because if the coal burns 2 seconds, then, well, one piece of coal lasts like that. If we check back with our mining drills, we see now that every mining drill roughly supports one boiler. That's all we need to know. But these things are darned important to keep track of, because if you don't, well, you end up building machines that don't do anything for you because you are out of your capacities and all those nasty little things. Here I am setting up a little bit more like that. But I want to stress out at this point, if you are insecure about these things, you either go for my tutorial, which will guide you through everything, how to calculate it, or you just can also go for the safe and easy overkill method. Because, you know, there's no kill like an overkill. There's no hurt done in doing too much of a good thing. But the only hurt is that you will be inefficient. And some of us are hurt by inefficiency more than others. Anyways, I am expanding now my power capacity, even though we are far from using this up completely. But electric mining drills do eat up quite a decent amount of electricity. So do assemblers, and so do laboratories. All the machines that I'm setting up in the next phase of the game will be eating up more and more power. So I like to be prepared. I also want to stress out that I don't think that you're doing yourself any favor by building a complete stack of 20 generators at this point. Yes, you could. Then you would have this topic already out of your bucket list, and if that is good for your process, please by all means do it. You'd be just needing to craft 20 boilers and 40 steam engines, and you can set up the entire park like that. It is just a repetition of the pattern that we already have set up here, nothing more. Good. So now we have the power. I will next up create myself a bajillion of stone furnaces, as these are also absolutely necessary, and a whole lot of inserters. Okay, we are, well, far from being well fit for the deal, but whatever, we're doing our best. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some extra mining machines for another purpose. So let's see, I'll be doing it like that. Ultimately, I'll do it a little bit differently, but to get started, we're going to work with it like that. So here we differentiate now. This is for the metal processing industry. Aha, you see. And the other thing is for the power production industry. So later in the game, I will just have both resources on one belt and split it away somewhere else. But since our ways and means of logistics are currently very limited, we're doing it like that. Okay, so we're cranking out this stuff now. The consumption rate of furnaces is some really finicky beast. As you see, a furnace consumes 90 kilowatt. So 90 kilowatt are like a 20th of a piece of coal. No. It's hard to calculate. So that is why I'm using external tools usually for the calculations. And once we have established how modding works, I'm going to give you the exact ratios for furnaces and all in a way that you can actually understand it. Easier. Okay, so what we are now interested in is we want to set up some of our new tools. I'm building myself a couple of splitters and underground belts. And also, I am setting up a lot of transport belts. Here's the same thing again. We need a lot of transport belts. And whenever you notice that you need something a lot of, you better build yourself an assembler to make your life easier. So here we do see, though, that we need iron gear wheels for this. Okay, so that is sort of an issue, but it is a resolvable issue. So let's do some belt black magic here. Since this machine is producing way more gear wheels than this one eats up, we're going to use the machine for both purposes. So I'm setting up a belt that puts the gear wheels down here. This machine now feeds this one and the belt. It produces more than enough that this is not an issue at all. So we're setting up the belt like that, but you already notice there's no way ahead anymore. So that is where our friend the underground belt comes into play. This thing is doing exactly what the name would imply. We set up the hood here, and then you can see we have a maximum distance, but we put it down like that, and boom, just like this, we have gear wheel up in front of our machine that needs it the most. Now all we need to do is connect the inserters accordingly. Craft ourselves some more power poles. Obviously we ran out of these as well. And last but not least, you need to set up a container at this thing as well. Otherwise it won't work out wise. Alright. Here again, strongly recommend to limit the production, as you really will make yourself unhappy if you don't. I don't do much here before I have a vast amount of productivity increased. So that's what we're working ourselves towards to now. I'm not going to touch what I have here anymore. I deem this, for now, a finished system. I don't want to finick around with that anymore, because whatever I do will be more work than just setting up a proper clean machinery. Okay. So let's do it like that. That's a good start. So now to the nasty truth about belts. I told you that belts can carry 15 items per second, right? But that is complicated by the fact that your belt has 2 lanes, left and right. Each lane carries 7.5 units. That means if all the 30 machines would be sitting on this side, the belt could only carry 7.5 units per second. So you need 15 machines on the left side and 15 machines on the right side to fill the belt to its maximum capacity. You already noticed that this is quite nasty and annoying, isn't it? So that is why we will wait for maxing out capacities later. This is nothing to think about early on. It will just make you unhappy. So what we are doing next now is we're going to check on out these bad boys here. So we have learned that 1 iron ore turns into 1 iron plate. We've also learned that we are producing 0.5 iron ore per second. So that means we need 2 seconds per iron ore. And that means we roughly can facilitate 1 point something furnaces with 1 miner. That is enough for us right now. That means we got here 2, 4, and 5 miners, so we're definitely going to set up 10 of these furnaces to begin with. And that's that. This is an easy equation that is not really exact math, but it's approximating things close enough that it'll work out just decently. Okay. I will build the rest of this smeltering facility on the next episode. Probably I will also need to reorganize it for a little bit of more efficiency. I'll leave it like that. Today's episode was, for me, mostly dedicated about the basics of automation. As you see here, this is really effective. And we also have automated our defense system well enough that we are not running out of bullets, because we are producing enough bullets to fight off the enemy. What now is needed next is more resource and more science. And that's what we're working on next episode. So, see you guys next time. Drop me your comments down below. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Consider subscribing. And like I said, in the description box there is a playlist link that leads to the rest of the series. So you can just binge watch that series. Check out also, if you'd be so kind, the Discord or the Twitch of mine, where I do stream quite regularly. And if you feel like my work is worth supporting, there are also links to Patreon, PayPal, or Buy Me a Coffee, or just check out the channel membership system. Either way, thanks for watching, and I hope you're coming back for the next one. Bye bye.